Okay, I'm going to start to mesh the text, just place the text here, mark into the cleanup version of Luke and Matthew. So this is going to be pretty much Matthew, or Mark, I'm sorry, Mark meshing with the text. So you're going to see a lot of these verses over here are going to be, some of them, not all of them, will have two pieces together. And like I said, I was keeping the editing going forward here from the editing that I'd done recently, I guess. I've made a really huge error not keeping the text going forward, so it's going to make it harder for everybody to keep up with the editing, but they need to watch the videos, I guess, and maybe somebody can come up with something better. Oh, excuse me a second. Nope, that's not the phone call I've been waiting for. But this seems to have that editing now back into it. Because I didn't think I added, now I'm thinking these words are from that text that I edited. Because I know I added King David, but I can't remember doing all this editing and then changing like from here to here. Because this video, I'm just seeing more editing that I know that's in the last couple videos of Luke. So, no, sorry to get everybody confused when they're doing these, but anyways, I'm changing these words around from here to their son was circumcised, not to circumcise their son, but change it like that. But yeah, this should have been, yeah, these are keeping with some of the edits and then crunching, getting rid of all the unused verses. And then whatever was left in Matthew is being carried forward. So Matthew's is being carried forward. Okay, now this, I've got move all. This is what I was saying. As I start adding more text, the text starts being moved around. So I need just to copy this for right now. And and I guess if you've got the text in front of you, you would just be able to click it and come back to see where all these went. And I will mention it when I get it, when I come across that, because I've pretty much noted that. This is just part of the stuff above. Because what I'm thinking here is that when I started trying to start labeling the groups and started rereading them, I know that that's why these verses have got to be moved. It's out of order. It might have sounded like it was in order, but it wasn't, because when I started needing to add text, it was starting to tell me do other editing. Now here you're going to see I've started putting from here up into here. But this was the only verse that went up here. The rest of them are going to go below. So there is this one that has to be mentioned that it's going above. And this is going to get moved completely someplace else. So if you're going to search for this verse, I know it's going to come up where it's properly placed, but it's taken from here and going to be put someplace else. And removed here now. Maybe it's here. 3, 4, because I got 4, 5. Maybe it's way up here. Did I put it up here? Oh, just to see this verse above. Yeah, all this is here now. The same thing. And remember, I changed it from just honey to what is under our Creator's laws that he could eat. So, and it was living off the land pretty much. So that's what happened. It's not going to be moved. It's taken out because of the above text. But meshing this stuff below, you can see that I needed to add east of the Jordan River, which is actually Jordan. So I would use the word Jordan instead of putting all this text in here. And I changed the word from many to some Israelis. Here we're coming to them because after they confessed their sins, they were baptized in the Jordan River. Okay, so yeah, this seems like now this is the actual editing from Luke is being left in where I had removed it. Somehow I didn't get back and put all these edits in John or in Luke's beginning. So I messed up by using cleaned up, and now I've got it back in. So okay, we're back on track here of carrying all the editing forward. So there's going to be things that I'm not going to mention, but moved here. That verse has been removed, moved back. I just need to get to this is where I moved it down here. But I really wanted to say to Mark, okay, now here's where I moved that text. Those are the same. So I moved that story from above. I moved it down here. And then added Mark here. And this is as is, as is. So this group is going to be down here that needs to be added above. And you can see the editing that I've done didn't need this verse because this is where they're headed. And with his followers, see, I had the word, it was the word disciples, but at this time, they're just followers at this time. So I made sure that the correction of it being followers goes through here to here. Because let me show you here. There's stories of Jesus healing in Jerusalem, then he healed again, and then he's coming back up to here and somewhere by here. And I've got to add the city someplace in here. But Jesus was healing there, and then he went up through here, and then gets into Nazareth, and this is what's going on with the text here, is that he opens up the book of Isaiah and starts reading. And so he didn't have didn't have disciples yet. He didn't pick up his disciples until after he was baptized. Or like I was saying, we still don't know about some of the disciples exactly they were picked up. So did he tell them to follow him before? And I've got the mistake here of followers. That's always going to be under question because yes, some of those disciples, we have no text that's saying, follow me. As you can see, I'm splitting Mark in half here. Now, why did I split it in half and it's hit? Can't recall why I split it, but I have it split. Okay, because I know the carpenter's son is up here already, so that doesn't need to be mentioned. This, I'm just got him in the synagogue. Usually that's when he did go into a synagogue, was uh, because they knew there'd be a gathering of people, so he went to teach there. Um, that would have been a long verse, but I can't remember why I split it. Maybe it doesn't need to be split now that I've seen that. And then change the word from town to village, because Nazareth cannot be found today in archaeology. So it has to be a village that didn't take off or didn't get built up as with buildings to leave archaeology discovery behind. So their village would have been made of sticks or tents. And this doesn't need to be used here, but I needed to add, but by his village he did lay his hand upon a few sick, because that's what the other story was saying. So, but in his village he did heal a few sick. And this was the text that moved upwards. As is. As is. So you can see that some of this text that here, I just needed to continue the story. So these words might not be there later because more text might be coming in and they'll go together. Don't know, but at this time when I was doing it, I'm editing that type of thing in here. Those words in at this time. I'm switching the words around to be the order here of the text. So I tried to do some of that. Okay, this text is going to be from down below. So I added the story here. Just because it was talking about mustard seed and all those. And then this verse had mustard seed. So the two mustard seed stories are getting put together. Okay. Well, this is from Matthew, but easier to mesh below. So I guess when I put Mark here, I'm going to say this is as is here. And then these verses here are going to be meshed. This is mesh below. Here's 35, 34. I got 34 here. I guess what I'm saying is that this should have been as is. So this is telling me that this would have been something I might have moved from another group. So when you're comparing them, this might be an area where I moved it and didn't say I'm moving it from here to there to be put in this location. So, because when I reread and edit these, some of these sentences got to be moved or broke up, like what I'm saying, that this one does look like I picked it up and I've removed it to here, and then say I'll mesh it in with the text that was when I'm putting in Mark here. So now see here, it's got note moved to another location. So this text here is going to be, again, moved because it's reading out of place here. But that's going to be in another video or even later. Now this is Mark's getting meshed below, and actually I didn't use much. I did got rid of this because this is already here from, this is where you can see I've already meshed Matt with Luke for this story, and now it's getting meshed with Mark. Again, this text went here, and these are easily to be found by matching this up with the other text when you're working side by side with the text. Don't need those verses, don't need those verses. Here I'm going to mesh. I'm going to split them because the way the stories are saying in Mark, this needs to be meshed someplace else. Okay? So, I don't know where I put it though. So, I have to keep an eye on this one because, let me see. Okay, it didn't mesh with anything, so it's out. So I can't use mesh below. This just has to be said that this didn't fit in with any text. So it's all out. This I'm adding because now we're starting to get other text around it that's telling me this is the area where he's at. Add text is this text moved to 333. So when I do this, it should show me another place. Yeah, I moved it way down here. And actually it got all removed. But it went someplace else, so I was able to remove it. Same thing with this text here. It moved below, but it looks like I used this verse and not this verse. Well, it's so hard to remember what I did so long ago. This isn't below, but where was the one that I'm looking for? Above. These were above. Yeah, this didn't go anywhere. I was thinking maybe it should be done above, but they didn't go. And I guess I'm referring to this verse in 10. So all this is pretty much summing up most of the words here. So all this just didn't get meshed above. It was just out. Same thing here. C is above verses. So whatever's up in here, these absolutely didn't need to be used. I'm wondering whether I've got this text in the right place. So that's just a footnote to me, and moving this stuff below. It isn't Simon and Andrew, it's Simon and Peter. That came from a different story, to be truthful. So then it's not Simon's home exactly, but it's the home of Simon and Peter. And he took these two disciples. See, this is where he's starting to pick up the disciples. This is not needed. That's not needed. And here I'm using verses that I'm going to get rid of to be put in here. After the sun rose, well, before sunset, they brought to him all who were ill. The story didn't read right that after the sun rose, like next morning, it was still that day when he healed her and news got out. And then by touching them is the way healed. So here was that text. By adding the verse here, I could get rid of most of this here, or most of this is above. No, he went to a lonely place. And no, this wasn't true. He didn't get to a lonely place to pray. And what they did was they found him. Here's the lonely place he went to pray. So yes, it's in there the next morning that he did this. So the thing here is this is a double getting rid of that. And Jesus wouldn't go to other cities, but he's going from different tribes is the way I want the text to read here, because he is going to start visiting a lot, because like I said, when I have information to go from here to here, this is where I believe around this area was where Jesus was baptized, and then he's was up here when Satan got to him, and then he's got to come to West Manasseh, Azekara, and Naphtali, and then they come down from Asherah to speak to him. And now he went across to this area here, to this city, and now he's coming back over to here, and he's going to take the highway down, and he's starting to, even though he was going to zigzag back and forth, I can say that I'm properly stating that it has to be to other tribes. That isn't needed. Not needed here. Maybe I'll. This is just that's a reminder for me in the next video. This might be out, but it's right now. It's got too much to say that this doesn't belong in someplace else, because now he's in the synagogues and he went throughout Israel. Here I'm meshing a mark above. Get rid of this. Didn't need that verse there. Meshing all this text to a mark below. And I'm not, oh, it's the story about sowing his words. And when you put them together, it sounds like I didn't need to borrow back and forth, but other words were better. So they were just using words to copy from the story and say it in another like way for the story. And being that it's my seeds, I know I took it someplace up here and put it here because he's telling what happens in each of the ways he's going around sowing seeds. And I think I even reestablished that this order was out of order and they needed to be removed around to match the story. But he says it one way and then he doesn't explain it in the same way and needed to be moved around. This is getting moved mesh below. This text is going to get meshed below. Then you can see I'm using this text here from this verse here, and then it reads better by removing some text. So the eternal life just to show you that the text is there or still there. This is just replacing this. This one's said better. It's not teacher anymore. Like I said, when starting to combine these together, it has to be my Lord. So he's no longer a teacher. Everybody's starting to recognize his story, that he is who he is. He's been telling them. Because you got to think of how long this is going on. This all happens within 1 year. So I'm just trying to make sure that people start understanding that this story, he is not a teacher anymore, teaching his stories. He's proclaiming who he is. Because you got to remember, he's when he's gliding over the water, controlling the water, they definitely know who he is. So the wording needs to be changed to match what's going on. Here, text it out, and I don't know if that was added by me now or later. It's now added. Removing that text, removing this verse. Said same thing, a little bit better here. You can see I moved this group before I edited it, but this group is being moved from where it was to where it will be. This here is to be meshed below. And you can see very few sentences are used. In fact, one is only used. Everything else is gone from there. Yep. And what I needed to borrow here is from here. He is the high priest at this time. He's talking about when David was young and Saul was out to kill him. Yes, not to work on holidays, and that's to fill in to make these words starting to match together. So, and here I'm saying this text here, it was moved from a half a page down, so it was moved and brought forward. This text mesh above, so the text here is coming up here. And you can see I'm using the word withered arm to a withered hand. That's just the impression I'm getting from the text, because I know some people that their hand is more or less connected to their elbow. And then others that don't have anything but maybe the very tips of the fingers starting here, whether the hand was withered, meaning it was deformed, such as it wasn't, all the skin was together on the hand, more or less. So I truly haven't decided what actually, I'm pretty sure even in the final text I haven't decided yet. Here, just getting rid of this verse, even though it seems I divided it from somewhere. Or no, that's all that was left from Mark's editing. That when I realized that when I was starting to go through Mark and reading, some of it was just double speak. So this one was left over, and it's still not needed at all, except for this part here, and they kept silent, because those words now are here. He's asking. And like I said, when not really stretch out, but reach out your hand. And that's what I'm trying to, because if it's stretched out, it's like this. Like I said, it wasn't, the deformity would have been all the hand not being able to use as the way we have individual fingers. So that's But if I got reach out, and this would be from the hand that would hear, and then it would and connect it correctly. Um, and just remember, people that are born with deformities, we use the word deformities, but actually that's the way our Creator made them. So they are born perfect. And when people bully them that they aren't the same, you're just a stupid person, because who are you to judge our Creator's work? Okay, I'm just sick and tired of seeing people being told that they're ugly by people. It's just those are the people that are, their words coming out of their mouth have made them defiled, because they don't understand that's our Creator's work. And that's the way He made that person. So it's just this trying to bring another person out or make them feel like they don't belong. That's just wrong. They are perfect, and that's the way our Creator made them. So who are we to really judge uh, our Creator's work? And you should be very mindful of that. And when you hear somebody else say that, you should be the first one to speak up and say, ask that person and to help that person that's um, got the deformity, or not like the way our Creator created them, not like the rest of us. Then you should be able to speak up and say, hey, who are you to judge our Creator's work? So here I'm adding the word attendants to the word scribes, because it does sound like they needed to have somebody counsel together. So our scribes counseled together. Well, I need the attendants as well, that they might trap him in something. They said, don't need this verse. This is being added together. Here's the text that I said I was taken from here. It sounds better and reads better above. Um, And actually, this is going to go into another part of the text. Here, I'm meshing just a small part up into here, and borrowing the word scribes to put in here, so we have the best words we can to be put together. This one here, like I said, there's a lot of text here that just, there's so much about this feeding the crowd that I needed to still not edit that, but just to place them here. Here I was able to mesh these words with the words below. And you can see that I'm not really using words from verses to go with other verses. This needs to be meshed below, because one story is talking about going to this place and another story is coming back from here. So this story is where there are many demons and one male. So this story is going to have, I thought it should have Luke and Matthew combined. Yeah, here. I didn't use much from Matthew, but, this is the text I moved from above down here, moved to here. So when I'm meshing the text here down, you can see I did borrow some of the words, like east of Galilee, and that's here. And then wore no clothing, that is up here. So then the verses read better and don't need those. To return, now this is, like I said, going back. So I got into their boat to return. See, this story would have been 2 different times they were doing this. So they were now returning, and this male that they healed asks them, stops them. And that's what's different from the other story, that you don't hear that this part of the story. But when you find it in Mark, it needs to be said, these words were to return to your family now, that what your king has done for you. And then by using this was from Luke is now up here is just to return as well, or return to your family is here. So this should have been yellow. Okay, this as is. And yet I see that, oh, I must have, okay, I'm going to take text from someplace and move it upward, way down here. And then I'm meshing above, way up here. There's Mark and Matthew. I'm not showing that that's how I marked them. Marking them as highlighting these here groups so I know when I'm meshing up or down. 30. Mark 30. This is Matthew. This is, okay, there it is. This is 35. So, yes, this text is going up here. And actually, I didn't use much from Mark, but I did use parts of the verses and didn't need others. And like I said, I added pretending to sleep on this one. I don't need those words. I've got it already here. You pretend to sleep. But I'm thinking I just changed one word in the original text to say pretending to be asleep. And then when I got to Mark, that's why, since I did that editing, I knew it and carried it forward to be here. But now I don't need that doubling of the text. And those verses aren't needed there. Here's another group that I'm going to move downward or move someplace else. Got into the vault. Moved. 3, 4. See, this is when they went to the other side, so 44 has to be above. Well, let's see. Yeah, it was, I moved up, it was above. Okay. So that's where that text did get moved to and then got meshed. Use as starter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video here and look at what I'm saying here. So because it's so close to 40 minutes that it's better to stop here and me to figure out what's going on here. I'm really, because before these videos, I try to go through what I think is going to last long enough and then I'll keep going. So I'm usually prepared for some of this, but this one's bugging me here. I'm not quick enough to think, so I'm going to stop right here and then continue